Consider this simple question. What is an object?
Well, it gotta be something solid probably, something with a physical body, something that can be easily touched, seen and studied empirically, right?
Oh, yeah, if you say something like, give me that thing, that object from the table. But the objects in this philosophy are a bit different, as if they are from another universe entirely.
But they are not. Let's just start by saying that an object in this theory is more like a unit, an individual thing. Yet this entity isn't defined by being material, solid, or by something that's over there, in opposition to me as a subject.
So, whenever you hear objects during this video, don't imagine that something is being objectified, because these objects have much more agency, and they are way more animated and weird than the term implies at first.
Harman defines an object like this.
An object is more than its pieces and less than its effects. An object is anything that has a unified reality.
This means that it can be a ball, a brain, a forest, a political party, or this YouTube channel.
Like and subscribe.
An object can be a global movement, as well as global warming. It can be an event, a relation.
And even a glitchy pinky crocodile eating puffy clouds. All these things are potential objects in object-oriented ontology. So, what is flat ontology?
It should be related to how we define reality, right? Since ontology is the study of being, of existence, of how things exist. It all has to do with how one thing exists and how it relates to other things.
This is what it means to make ontological claims.
In a flat ontology, the things that we speak about, they all somehow equally exist, which means that one can talk about more things in a similar way. If everything is on the same plane, then nothing is more real than something else.
Still, why does this matter?
Because this kind of ontological claims can police what exists and how it exists. So it does matter what kind of views we put forward about reality, because this sort of matters can define our collective lives. Flat ontology aims to make justice to all objects. Each and every object is irreducible in its own right. No subject-object dichotomy to play with, and also not another correlationist philosophy to cage you within thought and being. This is the anti-anthropocentric ontology you have been looking for.
And if you haven't been looking for it, well, maybe you should? As a worthy ontology, I will not push you into the trap of privileging one thing over another based on your personal prejudices.
There's a difference to notice. Although things equally exist, they do not exist equally. A bug is not a beer bottle. The Witcher is not a box of pizza. This means that it doesn't imply how these things should be treated, only that they equally exist.
So don't worry, you won't be fighting side by side with a trash can in court.
But wait, this ontology can take a stronger position against the extractivist, human-centered values. So don't stop here.
So, if an object is irreducible by definition, what does it mean to reduce it?
Let's take grandma's bean soup. If you start to say, well, the soup is just a bunch of ingredients, you will undermine the object and you won't make Harman happy. Now, if you start to say something like, well, the soup is a perception I'm having, you will overmine the object. So again, Harman won't be happy. If you just want to piss someone off, no matter how, you can also say something like, well, the soup is just ingredients. And you know what? These ingredients are actually just a perception I'm having right now. This is called dual-mining. Pretty simple, right?
Undermining, when everything is reduced downward, if you are into elementary particles and stuff. Overmining, when everything is reduced upward. Maybe solipsism is your thing. And duomining, when objects are dissolved in both directions. If you wanna hang out with some materialists, they are really cool, though material conditions do matter. If grandma soup is a bit more than that, how does it exist then?
Look, this is not some kind of bizarre New Age doctrine, even if it looks bizarre for Harman too. The model is kind of inevitable for him. On one side, we have the real objects. On the other side, we have the central objects, each of them with their own set of qualities. Pretty obvious, right?
What's the difference?
Okay, so the real objects are always outside of experience, always withdrawn, never exhausted, and never reducible to literal terms. This means that whatever is real hides, so it's not showing its form fully, becoming unable to be pinned down. It means that a form, not some particles, a form, exists in one place and it can be easily moved into a mind or a formula or anywhere else without being translated into something else.
To touch, to analyze, or to stare at a painting, it means to distort, to translate, and to caricature it. Objects withdraw from conscious and unconscious activity, as well as from a theoretical or practical encounter.
The central objects, by contrast, exist only inside the experience of another entity, in captivity, so to speak. The central real is what we perceive, it's about how things appear and what is experienced by any object through interaction.
Can I eat my soup now?
Yes, you can have a central encounter with it.
If a real object is never in direct contact with another real object, do we still have causality?
Only if you make it vicarious, which means that objects only translate one another and never touch each other fully.
In other words, relations never directly encounter the autonomous reality of their components.
Objects only relate to their environment selectively, and this happens only through their organization. So causation sounds more like translation in the end. Every contact we make and every contact between two entities happens like this, regardless of us being present or not. A connection is part of a third object, and it can create a new whole that is also never fully translated by other entities.
This kind of relation occurs only through some form of allure or some form of aesthetic effect. That's why causality becomes aesthetic, and aesthetics becomes the first philosophy for Harman. I bet you aren't sure what you've been listening to. And anyway, how is this gonna solve any of our social issues? Or how is it gonna address the climate and ecological crisis?
Well, although ontology can be deeply political, we should be wary about linking politics directly with one ontology, as much as we should be wary about linking one philosophy directly with an explicit outcome. Object-oriented ontology teaches us about translations between things, but there is also a high chance that the ontology on which we base our politics today will change at some point.
Staying with the struggles and staying with the troubles is necessary sometimes. A certain distance is needed sometimes, needed to make sense of the new understandings, of the new ontologies, so that we end up caring more about the world, not less. So, what are some of the implications?
We should know that not all objects relate to other objects, entities and collectives that haven't shown themselves to us. might at some point, like a slowly degrading organ that we're beginning to sense every day. The organ was there all along, but in a different relation, in a different state.
Reality is formed of such objects on different scales, participating in the production of other objects without the need for a bigger structure or smaller substances. We should be wary about any idea of mastering nature, and of nature as something that's over there.
We are also slowly beginning to realize that humans are not the only political actors around. Perhaps this was noticeable in the past as well, with weapons of mass destruction, but as we move into the uncertain future, it is becoming more and more clear that the raging fires all around the world and the melting ice sheets are becoming bigger and stronger political actors, along with the rest of the catastrophes the next decades are preparing for us. But don't hide away in fear, the revolutionary perpetual change needed is happening at many scales.
Thanks for watching this video and thanks for listening to our voices, East European voices. I hope they weren't that bad. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, maybe do it now if you want to. If not, that's okay. And maybe click the like button, it really helps. And spread the video with some of your friends, that also helps. And yeah, maybe just share some of your thoughts with us about the video, because we're planning a longer series on thinkers and concepts, and it will be really helpful to know what you liked and what you didn't. Take care, read the books, links in the description. Bye!